Hey guys, Mike here from Old Man Things, and welcome to the old Frog Toad Pup Shed. I'm sitting in the old snug, and I'm smoking some Golden Days of Yore in my GBD billiard. Let me show you my lighter I got. It was a gift from Steve. Give that to me. It's a toad, if you can't tell. And he's got a smoking cap on, and he's smoking a pipe. That's quite good. I thought I'd tell you a story about Laughing Larry's truck wash. This is a story that you wouldn't think was real. And even as I sat in it, I have to admit I still was thinking to myself, how? How did I get here at this moment of my life? I've got a wee sip left of my. I've been sipping this all day of a little drop of scotch. I'm just going to have that with you. So cheers, everyone. Look at all the scotch mist on the glass still. It's sorry, Glenmorangie 14. And that is wonderful. All right. I knew it bothered me sitting there. I knew I had to have the sip. But anyhow. So to start off, I got to go back into time. And I was um, born and raised in Toma, Wisconsin. And when I was 6, my mom and dad got a divorce. And my dad, when he lived with my grandma for a bit. And then he went and he ended up getting a trailer and a trailer court in a little town not too far from Toma called Oakdale. And it was always, and if you're watching and you're from Oakdale, Wisconsin, I have no offense, but it was like in a little old hick town. There was nothing there other than a bar, the trailer court. Anyways, when my dad moved from that trailer court to where he ended up living, where I ended up graduating from high school in Warrens, I had very little reason to ever go back to Oakdale. In fact, I never thought I would go back to Oakdale. Okay, so now fast forward to the summer. One Friday, I had off, and I have Fridays off. So one Friday this summer, my daughter wanted me to take her to Toma. She hadn't been to Toma since she would have been like 18 months. Was the last time she was ever there. When we went to the funeral of my grandma, and then we moved to Oklahoma and all that stuff. So she wanted to see the house that I was born, raised in, and all this stuff where my grandparents lived. So one Friday, her and I, we went into Toma. Well, I told my high school buddy Ryan that I would go visit him. And we still keep in touch. And I mean, Ryan and I were like, we were like brothers in high school. I still think of him like a brother. I don't think of him as a friend. He's a good friend, but like a brother friend. Like we were that close. But we don't see each other very often. In fact, I could count on one hand how many times I've seen him since high school, but we communicate and stuff. But anyhow, so we go to visit him, and he says, "I want to take." He said, "My wife and I want to take you guys out for lunch." And I said, "Oh no, that's okay, that's okay. We're only just stopping." He goes, "No, we want to take you for lunch." So he said, "You guys get in with us." So it was him and his wife and his daughter, and my daughter and I. So we go and we're driving. I said, "Where are we going?" And he goes, "We're going to Oakdale." I said, "What? What kind of restaurant could be in Oakdale?" And he says, "You'll love it." So we pull up. No, I should explain my daughter. She's little Miss Priss. Doesn't like to get her hands dirty. She's So she was already horrified with this whole experience up to this point. We pull up for truck wash. And when I mean truck wash, I mean semi truck wash. You know, like you go to a car wash. Well, this is a semi truck wash. And it's a building. I'll show you the building here. So you got the semi right there, and you got a semi on the other side. And when we pulled up, you could see the semis there, and they were coming out, and they were. And only when we were there wasn't a cafe sign in front of it like that picture was. And it was called Laughing Larry's. And I said, what's this place? And he said, this is where we're going to eat. So we go in, and I'm going to show you a picture of how small it is in here. It was that small. And there were people, I mean, there was enough people in there that there was one table left. Well, of course, there was five of us. So only two could get on each side, so they had to put a chair on the end for me. Well, of course, no one could get through, so I had to keep on moving. And it wasn't clean at all. It was, and I could tell my daughter was, she was, everything inside of her was trying to keep herself calm. I was all right because it didn't bother me, but so we had these old laminated sheets that you could take your finger and go like that, and you'd leave a tray of grease to order from. And I spent more time looking to see what I thought my daughter would like because I knew she was so picky that she wouldn't order. I don't even know what she ordered. It must have been something. They're as happy as anything. So we order our meal. I think I got a hamburger and French fries. They had like pancakes and waffles and stuff. I think I don't remember what my daughter had, but they brought the mugs of coffee it was filled up coffee, and they brought it. They put it. Well, I remember picking up the cup of coffee, and it was all you could see. It would look like it had been used before, hadn't been washed, and it was all like stained on the outside. And I remember looking over at my friend's mug, Ryan's, and then you could see like a mouth mark. And I thought, oh no, oh no. And of course, there, like that's like nothing. So they, and of course, every time anyone went walking through to go to the bathroom, you had to keep on standing up. I mean, me, because there wasn't room, and moving the chair so they could get through. And you could hear the yelling from either side of it where they were washing the trucks, and the swearing and the cursing. And I mean, it was just an atmosphere. And I remember the whole time sitting there thinking, what would ever possess someone to think, because I said that cafe sign wasn't out there, to think, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to eat here. And when they brought the meal, I said to Ryan, I said, there's no knives or forks. So he says to the waitress, no, the waitress and him have been going at it the whole time. She's got, and Ryan's this big old guy. Big old guy. He's like 6 foot something, and he's big, And he says, you forgot the knives. He said, you forgot the fork or the silverware. So he said, you forgot the silverware. And she says, you really need the silverware? And he goes, well, I'd like to have some silverware. And she said, I just washed the silverware. Do you really need the silverware? And I'm thinking this whole time, what do you mean you just washed it? So she goes, fine. And she comes in, she has this handful of forks, and she just slaps them on the table. And they all go grab for their forks. I was worried there wouldn't be none left for me. So I finally grab a fork. Of course, I'm looking at it all over because of the mug. It was so, Well, I said to Ryan, because I always eat with a knife and fork. I was raised to eat with a knife and fork. I said to Ryan, I said, do you think I can ask for a knife? And he says, I wouldn't. And I never asked any more questions. Well, on the one side of the wall, it was called the Larry Hall of Fame. And if your name was Larry, you got to be on the Larry Hall of Fame. And I'm going to show you a picture here. That's the Larry Hall of Fame. And at one point, I went into the bathroom, and as you go into the bathroom, there was one of those singing fish, and it was singing, "Don't take me to the river." And I thought, you can't make this up. And above the sink, where there should be a mirror, but there wasn't any mirror, was this big old sign, and people had been written out, and it says, "The sink is not a bathtub, and this is your only warning." So, and it always made me wonder, what did they catch someone doing? That was my story about Laughing Larry's truck wash and restaurant. And sadly, as I looked that up to find pictures, this is no longer open. Well, the health inspector probably went and dropped dead with a heart attack. So, anyways, guys, I shall say thanks for watching. I'm having a cup of tea. There's a little sip left. I'll say cheers in this. Cheers, everyone. And toodle pip.